people think I'm kind of funny by taking clients out to dinner or flying to a different state to hang out with them for a day or whatever the case is. But in the post-production, you're going to take a bigger risk and make a better film because you know these people more. And then in return, you post that film and you're going to book even better clients and better weddings. And then the process is going to repeat over and over again.
Hello everybody and welcome to Show Love episode 11. My name is Ben, I will be your host, and joining me as my first guest from the United States, which I'm very excited about, is one half of the brothers Martens. It's Henry Martin. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Hey, absolutely. I'm super happy to be here. First time for me doing Australian podcasts, so this will be awesome.
All good. Well, I am based in New Zealand, but I'll forgive you. It's all good.
Sorry. The podcast where I found out about you interviewed Natalie, and she's from Australia.
Yeah.
I can't believe I just did that. That's so bad.
To be fair, the last 5 of my guests have been Australians. So, I obviously have quite an obsession with Australian videographers right now. So I can understand the confusion.
So my bad.
Look, it's not the first time a New Zealander has been mistaken for an Australian, so and
it won't be the last.
One of many. It's all good. It won't be the last. All good, man. Well, I'll tell you what. Look, everyone watching will, I'm sure, know exactly who you are. Will be super familiar with your work. Oh, come on! You're one of the most famous wedding videographers in the world. Your work is incredible.
You're really building me up.
I know. Just don't let me down. But for the sake of podcasting world, would you mind giving us a little bit of an elevator pitch on who you are, the brothers Martens, and your whole sort of videography journey and weddings?
For sure. So the brothers Martens is comprised of two brothers, my brother Bradford and myself. And Bradford has been a wedding photographer for about 10 years, older brother of mine. And I've been a wedding filmmaker, videographer, cinematographer, whatever you want to call us, for 5 years. And so basically the way we started was Bradford had been doing it, and I was selling cars, and then had a music background. But I started working as an audio engineer for a video production company. And I was just a really curious kind of guy, asked a million questions, bought a camera, and then ended up making a tiny little travel video from one of our trips as a company. And it was to Indianapolis. If you guys want to check that out, it's on Vimeo. It's called From Dallas to Indianapolis. It's really bad, but we all start somewhere. And the guys liked it, and so them being a commercial company, they did not do wedding videos. So my first wedding ever came as a referral from them. And it was one of their girlfriend's mom's friends. And so, so that was in 2014. And so it was my first wedding ever. I ended up showing up to the wedding, started shooting, prep shots, had no idea what I was doing because I realized I had never even been to a wedding in my entire young adult life. And so I ended up calling my brother. He came over and shot it with me and saved my ass. So the start to the Brothers Martens was a couple years after that, whenever I finally got some skill and a little bit of understanding of what I was doing. And we decided to join forces together because we thought it'd be awesome to work together, to be able to, collaborate on, the same weddings. So that's how it all started. Oh, Siri's dictating me right now. Anyways, and so that's how it all started. And so for us now, we are just a photo and video team who specialize in destination weddings, but still shoot probably about 50% around Texas local.
Yeah. Fantastic. Cool. So you guys have been working together side by side for the last sort of 5 years or so.
So sorry. So timeline for that would be 2017. So 3 years ago. Okay. This is our third year going into it. Oh, cool. Yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic. And you guys have got all sorts of awards between the two of you, between photo and motion, rangefinder awards, love story TV things and stuff like that. So, obviously together you guys are quite a power team and stuff. And, is working with your brother, is it working well?
So rough start, right? There's always a little bit of the, younger brother, older brother thing. And me being kind of the new kid on the block and in the industry, maybe I wanted to shake things up a little bit. And so there was a like an interesting curve, but I'm happy to say it lasts like a year and a half. It's been so smooth. We've really found our collaboration together versus our friction, because now sometimes he'll actually second shoot with me. And so he has a better understanding of what, I'm going for and what I need whenever he's shooting video. So it's very smooth now. And I honestly imagine it's probably like working with your wife or something like that, husband-wife teams. Like you like have the dynamics and you have the flow down, and it makes it a really great client experience whenever you both want the same thing.
Yeah, wicked, man, fantastic. And so you guys have a really successful sort of collaboration now, and from what I've seen online, your website, everything I've seen on social and stuff. From some of your discussions in the Facebook groups that we're both kind of part of, it seems like creating a really good client experience and quite a nice high-end, well-rounded client experience is something that's really important to you guys. And so that's kind of the main reason why I wanted to get you on the show today is to talk through basically everything around the film itself. We'll obviously talk about your filmmaking techniques themselves, but I think what a lot of people tend to leave by the wayside in the early days of creating their wedding film career is the idea of an entire all-encapsulating experience. Everything from when the couples find you, how they inquire, through the whole experience of them, because with weddings especially, it's a good like 12 to 18 month lead time.
Yeah.
Any interactions with that, right through to final delivery. So I kind of want to just sort of basically start at the beginning and just work our way down through, and
cool.
Yeah, and chat through all the different aspects of what goes into your whole client experience.
Awesome. I will say right off the bat that I think the end goal for us, right, is to have this, I don't want to call it like the Brothers Martens experience because it sounds really cheesy, but kind of, I wish that was like a standard, in the industry. And so, I think that, we figured some stuff out and, there's obviously areas that we want to improve on. And, times when you drop the ball, right. Cause this is a small business, everybody runs the thing. So, I think the big thing is always trying to get better and having a vision of what you want. So, for us, Bradford and I both like, nice things, and we like things to be seamless, and we like things to be cohesive. And so that is kind of our vision for our clients. And so, as simple as it sounds, it all starts with the initial contact form, right? We use a CRM called Tave or Tave, however you want to say it. And it's so funny because even with Bradford has a really big eye for aesthetics. And I'm kind of I was kind of whatever, man. It is how it is. He hated the way it looked, right? So he was like, dude, we have to, go spend money and get a coder to custom code this form into our website so that it matches the same, text as our website. It's not something different, doesn't look cheesy. And I was like, all right, cool. So right off the bat, we spent a little bit of money on making sure that looked good. And we had some custom questions added in there that are imported into Tave. And so they inquire with us. And then from there, we have kind of a template that we have written up. Always changing it and tweaking it. We leave spots for some customization, depending on how in depth a client's response is to us, inquiry is to us, because some couples will write their whole story. Some couples just want pricing, so we kind of have some flexibility there. But in the initial email, we really have spent some time making sure that it sounds like us. It sounds like even how we want to be perceived, right? And so, Am I doing it? Is this what you're wanting? Just kind of start?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. The bit about custom coding that contact form is fantastic because I use a CRM too.
Yeah.
And I find it fantastic. I've been using it for maybe a year and a half or so.
It's
well, I will never go back from not using CRM.
Yeah.
But I know. But it does the contact form they provide. It looks like you've taken a contact form and just stuck it like a sticker on top of your website.
Yeah.
So I might look into custom coding it to fit the website better.
I don't know the website, but there's like a freelance coder website that my brother found, and you can just post the job in there, and then they can do it for you for like a couple $100. It's awesome. So, or if you're a coder yourself. So anyways, so just kind of our big thing is we want to, and like this year even we're talking, like we're gonna get ready to invest in really hiring a top-notch coder, a top-notch copywriter, because I feel like our website has beautiful images, and we wrote our own copy because we tried to hire someone cheaper, and it was just kind of similar to what we were saying. So this year even we have big goals of really making some amazing copy for our website. Sorry, Siri. I don't know how you turn her off, but whatever I'm saying really must sound like, "Hey Siri." Yeah. So anyways, so sorry guys. Okay. So so just again trying to refine the experience and get our vision of how people perceive us and get our name out there in the industry. That's a big goal. Not even in the industry to an extent, but more so just, in the sphere, and get people to look at our work, from the very first impressions of our website, not just see work, but see a very finished brand and a very finished, company, so that whenever they see our rates, it makes sense, and they have to have us and they feel confident in the decision. That's like a big thing for us. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess to kind of take a step back before we sort of move on is, how would you kind of describe the overall kind of ideal experience? Like when couples landing on your website, what are you trying to get them to sort of feel and get a sense of in order to get them to fill in that form?
That makes sense. Yeah. We think our work does speak for itself. And so but I think the feeling that we're always trying to convey is art, in like a very modern sense. Like we don't want people to look at our wedding photos and our wedding videos and say, oh, this is a wedding video, right? We want people to feel something, and maybe it's something different than what they would feel on other websites that they're shopping. So I think I don't really think I have like a definitive answer for like what we're trying to make them feel. We just want them to see the work and read the About Us section and get an understanding that what we deliver to our clients is completely custom, and each film and photo session is going to be completely unique to what's important to them, taking their incredible vision and pairing it with our creativity. So that's kind of the summary, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's
because
the thing.
I think I was going to say, I think you do let your work speak for itself, and because the website itself is quite
simple,
sort of. Well, I was going to say minimal. It's not going on and on and on and on and on about all sorts of, like, your about page is really refined. You've got that really beautiful clean photo of the both of you on there. You've just got, when you click your films, it's just your films. People just watch them. And so I think it's sort of, you've just created this really nice, clean shell for your work to kind of sit in, and then get people to inquire from there.
Yeah. And I think that there's definitely a level that's deeper. If we can find, talking a little bit more about what we're about, right? Before they inquire. So we can try to refine that thing. And we think that hiring someone who's a wordsmith will really help with, defining that and expressing it to people looking at the website, get them even a little bit more excited. So that, because we don't want them to just think, oh, we're hiring artists, right? Because artists discount and cheap, so we want like them to think like we're hiring, we're commissioning someone to create some art for us, which is, I think, hopefully a little bit different.
Awesome. Now, before we kind of take the next step into the process, I guess we kind of like sort of give a bit of a caveat. The fact that you guys are a photo and video team, there will be parts of the workflow, parts of the client experience process that may not match exactly with a solo videographer, but I'm sure as we go along, we'll be able to, people will be able to sort of figure out their own way they'll pluck things out of that.
And since I do the video side, most of what I say will be from my perspective, totally. And also a question I'm sure someone already is asking is, do we work together for every wedding? No. I'd say we only work together about 30% of the year, and then the other 60% is working with other companies.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good to know going forward. Okay. Yeah. So I guess so you got your website, and basically, couples inquire. What happens then? Once the inquiry form comes through, what gears start to go in motion for you guys?
Yeah, right. So big gear is kind of analyzing the lead, right? Like how much information did they give us about them and their story? Where are they getting married, location wise? And just trying to figure out, what are these, like what's going on here. But the thing is, we always shoot back initial email. We are really trying to get that initial email always to be within 24 hours. Sometimes it slips through the crack when you're traveling or whatever, especially if you want to write up more of a custom thing. If it's a template, you can just pop it off. But again, always try to put a little personality and response to what they gave us in that initial lead. So so we trying to get it down to always being a response time under 24 hours. And the sooner the better, because these guys are shopping. Even though they love your work, they're probably sending inquiries out to everyone. So that, and we'll show them our base pricing, and what it'll take to get us out there, and to film and photograph, or just photograph their wedding. And then we always try to schedule a call. And the calls are a big part of the booking process. Even with planners, if like a planner sends a lead, like I think I've done it. I think I made an exception once, but I just don't like to book weddings without talking to the couples. And I think a lot of that ties back into the artistic side of what we do, versus the business side. I want to make sure that I'm going to enjoy, working with this couple, and that they value their video, and that it will be, a good experience for both parties. And so try to get on the phone call, and then those phone calls, I love doing phone calls with clients. I usually don't do Skype calls at first. Sometimes we do, but usually just do a phone call, keep it really simple. But it's just about getting to know one another, getting to hear a lot more about their story, answering any questions, like everyone does phone calls. There's nothing really special to what we do with that, except for, we just try to make connection points and build, rapport, try to find commonalities that we have between us. And so, it's, I just feel like I feel like most people kind of do the same thing for that part of the process. And, that's my answer.
Yeah. And so is it usually just the sort of the one Skype call, and then is it kind of they either book or they don't, or do you kind of have a bit more of
usually the only time if there's a little bit more is if they're trying to figure out budget, right? Like maybe we're on the high end of their budget, and maybe there's a little bit either, motivation, or, sometimes maybe it's a little bit of like sacrificing a little bit on the package to book the job and lower the price a little bit. Just kind of depends on what's happening. But, I would say that most of the time, if we do a client consult, they're gonna book, because at that point they've really gotten to know you. They can tell that we're really social, that we're gonna make them feel really comfortable. And we talk about, taking them out to dinner and taking them out to drinks or whatever, and getting to know them. That's a big part of what we do versus a lot of people. A lot of people don't like to do that. I think they like that. And then from there we use Tave, and we send them over a proposal, and then with the base package and anything else we talked about, and try to, hopefully get some add-ons and see, if they want them. And
Cool. All right. Well, I might use this as a bit of a segue then to start to talk about your packaging and add-ons, and how you kind of lay that out.
Yeah.
And if you have a bit of any techniques to make it seem less like salesy and more friendly, or how you guys kind of go about doing that.
Yeah, I think it kind of comes down to that brand, right? And like how your brand is perceived. And there's a way that I look at it, in the sense of, and I don't ever want to come across as egotistical, but the way that I look at what we do is, yes, we might be expensive, but we really do take a genuine interest in each client, and we really do create a custom film for each client. And so with that being said, that gives me a lot of confidence to know that not a lot of other companies do that. That they can say, yeah, we like make custom films. When you look at their portfolio, it's very much the same. And so our clients that reach out to us really, really, really see the customness in each film, and that each film portrays like a lot of unique elements from that couple. And so it doesn't feel very salesy because, I know that we're going to do an amazing job for them. I'm not one to either. Also, this is where I think it gets kind of salesy, right? Try to sell them something that they don't want. Some clients will say, "Oh my God, I love this video I saw on Instagram," right? So I know that like to them, Instagram teaser is something that they may want to add on. Some people may say, "Oh, I love these super fun videos." Like Brittany and Daryl from Austin is a big drawer in from us. It's just super fun and wild. And so I know with those couples, I'm not going to try to sell them on extra hours of coverage. I'm not going to try to sell them on a longer film, because that style film needs to be 5 minutes or under,
Yeah.
And so there are I guess that's kind of situational. But yeah, I think it doesn't come across salesy, because it comes across to me trying to figure out what's important to them and, well, what do they want? And then this is the cost.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so, perfect scenario, all going well, couples book you in.
Yeah.
You mentioned it before about taking them out for dinner, but what happens once you book them?
Yeah. So once they book us, right now and in the past, it's been pretty straightforward, right? They book us, and then depending on when their wedding is, we want to schedule a dinner or drinks to go out and hang out for a night. We talk a little bit about the wedding at those, but most of the time it's just about getting to know each other outside of the creative field, right? And just hanging out and having drinks together and really connecting. And so those dinners are it's my favorite part of probably the entire thing, because it's still before the wedding. You get to meet these people as much more people when they're not around all the stress of a wedding day. And so I talked about it at Vision Quest, which is a workshop here in the States, and they're very strategic, because as much as I want to know about the couple, I also know that it's equally as important that that I build value in myself for our brand, and so that's a great time to do it, because every other interaction that you have with that couple is going to be about them and about the wedding. So people think I'm kind of funny by taking clients out to dinner or flying to a different state to hang out with them for a day or whatever the case is. But it makes a big difference in my creative process, because I call it kind of, whatever. It doesn't matter what I call it, but basically my thought process is, they book you, you go do dinner, and you guys get to feel really comfortable around each other. So that means they feel more confident with you and more relaxed. And in that way, you feel more confident in what you do, so that in the post-production, you're going to take a bigger risk and make a better film, because you know these people more. And then in return, you post that film and you're going to book even better clients and better weddings. And then the process is going to repeat over and over again. And that's something that I've seen firsthand, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the parts that people probably don't think is obvious, because most people would probably look at you taking couples out to dinner and think, well, you've already booked them, why are you spending more money on trying to woo them?
Investment.
But it is about that post-production, about that other end of the process, when you both know them really well and they trust you and are sort of bought into you and your experience and your brand and implicitly, so you can take more risks with the film, and therefore book those more. It's just an ongoing process from there.
It is, and you got. I was always really, before I started doing dinners, I was really jealous of photographers, because they got to meet the couple and hang out with them. So I was always odd man out on the wedding day, because they were best friends with the photographer. I mean, sure, the photographer has a little bit better deal, they're getting paid to hang out with them. But I just posted in a group a screenshot after my last dinner with a client, and they were they were so nice, and they said some nice things, and they're we were excited, but now we're even more excited. And so it's just, that stuff is invaluable on the wedding day, whenever they're excited, because then they're also, if they booked me and I didn't really have a big personality and like a connection with them before the wedding day, they're not going to be at the wedding day talking to their friends about how awesome we are and like how much fun they had with us at dinner and, you know, all this stuff. So all that stuff kind of plays into people paying more eventually, you know, when you have an amazing experience.
Yeah. Exactly. And so besides the dinner, is there any other kind of out of the ordinary interactions before the actual day itself?
Timeline planning. So one of the things that's cool is usually the dinners happen before timelines are ever, you know, out there, or usually they happen like a month or two when rough timelines are there. We always talk to the couple about the importance of helping them with their timeline, finding out what's important to them, and so that we can just put more space in that part of the day. And then other areas that aren't important, that's cool. We can keep those pretty compressed as most timelines are really rushed. And so like, I'll also ask them, hey, are you the type of bride that if things get really stressed, do you need to like go take a break, or are you okay to like power through it? And depending on their answer will kind of determine how we structure or how we suggest the timeline. Because we never want to step on other vendors' toes or anything like that. We just want to make sure that what's important to our couple, we have enough time to be creative and document it. Because I have this saying that like a bad timeline is like the ultimate enemy of creativity. And it sounds like a really bold statement, but it always captures my like client's attention because it is. I've shot some weddings with bad timelines, and like the films turn out good. But like if we had more time, we could have gotten just some really magical stuff. So I've learned my lesson, and I've just figured out how to apply it to my business to be like an advocate for my client and say, what's important to you? Okay, let's make sure we have time to do that. So yeah. So that's like the only thing that's like out of the ordinary, I think, before the wedding day.
Yeah. When I first started in wedding videos, when I meet the clients and stuff, around the timeline especially, it was very much okay. Just tell me what's happening. Whereas these days, I'm like, okay, let's work together to make the timeline as you know, like the photographer does a big part of that, but then there's little video specific things that I help tweak as well. And I think that's just confidence, you know, to know that you can have an influence on how the day will run, and that it's not a selfish thing. It's about the couple's enjoyment and their, you know, the overall outcome for their film at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I think if your clients can look at you as like an advocate for them, that's like the best way for a client to look at you, like that you're trying to help them. And generally, most photographers like the suggestions I make, right? like who doesn't want like an extra 10 minutes for her to like get her bridal portraits of her? Because that affects, you know, both parties. And so, yeah, there are things where planners are like, we don't have time for it. And so I'll just kind of figure out don't do it just to do it, right? Do it because you have like something very distinct you're trying to accomplish. Yeah. So
cool.
That's awesome.
Fantastic. Okay. And so if sort of basically once the schedule of the day is all locked in, is there anything that you guys do like right before the wedding? Are you like checking in a couple of days out to say has anything changed, or are you kind of leaving them to it in those couple of days?
I think something that we want to do, I think something that we should do is just I don't know if we should do it. The word should implies judgment. Yeah. So my wife's just a therapist, and so I've like learned all these different things. And so something that we could do might be to maybe just send the bride a text and say, hey, like, can't wait to see you tomorrow, just so she knows we're coming. Because I heard about this weird thing about some bride just like some videographer didn't check in, and she got all worked up, and they were like, yeah, of course we're going to be there. Like, what are you talking about? And so anyways, I don't know. I might just start like reaching out to couples and be like, hey, like super excited to see you guys tomorrow. Congratulations. But I also think that they're so busy on the wedding weekend, and they're already so stressed. And so I don't know if that's like something that would be you know, negative versus a positive. But right now we don't do anything. We just, make sure we have that timeline and show up on time and start doing the thing, you know?
Cool. All right. Well, speaking of doing the thing, let's talk about the day itself. How do you guys conduct just, sort of basically everything besides filming? How do you guys conduct yourself? What do you wear? How are you interacting with the couple? How are you interacting with the guests, with the photographer? Let's talk about all that.
Totally. Big topic. Very much like our films, our experience and kind of the way we conduct ourselves and even appearance is dependent on the style of wedding that we're shooting. For instance, I have a wedding coming up on the 1st of February, and it is at the Ritz-Carlton. It's a black tie event. So I went out and spent some money, and I got some black Lulu pants. I cannot recommend them enough. They are life-changing. So they're like 4-way stretch and really comfy, but they're the dress slack version of it. So I got those. I invested in this awesome company, and this is a while ago, but I invested in this awesome company called Wolf and Shepherd. They make Italian-style shoes with sneaker bases on them, basically. But they're not thick. They're very thin, so they look good. They look good, and these are the most comfortable shoes I've ever had. Nice. I'm not endorsed by them, but I should be. They're seriously. So I bought them in August, man, and like I used to only be able to go about 10 hours before needing to change shoes. I shot a 14-hour wedding with these, and my feet were totally fine the next day. I mean, it's just I don't know how they do it. It's black magic. So anyway, so for this wedding, I'm just going to be dressed up to basically tuxedo. I got this awesome tuxedo shirt from Ms. in Maine, but it's a 4-way stretch, so I'm gonna be really comfortable. The only thing that's not like super stretchy is my jacket, but I'll be dressed to the nine, and it's going to be very formal, right? So I'll just blend in with everybody else. Then we have this wedding that was down at South Congress Hotel, and I just wear like comfortable, like I don't know, I'm not wearing like jeans and t-shirt, but like really nice black pants, and you're just all black. And I think I wore this black t-shirt actually, which is funny because it's like a long tee with my cowboy hat, because it kind of fit in with those vibes. And so from an apparel standpoint, that's really important. I think it's important to analyze who's the planner at this wedding that you're going to, what is the attire that everyone else is going to be wearing. And so you don't always have to match it. But the thing is, you want to, I just feel like when you go to higher end jobs, really look like the part, and so I think that's really important. And then as far as it goes for conducting ourselves, we're never not a personality. So we are always we have our little sayings that we say when we walk in the bridal suite, get people laughing, introduce ourselves, all that kind of stuff, no matter what the vibe is, right? And so, and then honestly, by the reception time, people are like already telling the bride and groom, it's not 100% of the time, but it's 90% of the time, oh my God, these guys are so much fun. Because we're out there on the dance floor, we're like filming, just like singing and like in people's faces with cameras. And so I feel like that would kind of skip the whole day. But the thing is you kind of have to be a chameleon, I think. It's not about you, but at the same time, you don't want to just be a weird little guy in the corner, in my opinion, for our brand, that doesn't say anything. We want to tell some jokes. We want to listen to people. We want to ask questions, and let people know that we're there. And so, so I think as far as it goes for that question, I hope I answered it in enough detail. There's nothing on the wedding day that's like, super out of the ordinary that we do, I guess, or whatever. So our biggest thing is just being really prepared and knowing the timeline, and so that we can, either move people along, or we can just kind of be present in the moment and just fit into whatever's happening.
Do you guys take video specific time, like it's during like the photo session and stuff
No, I haven't. I used to a long time ago, but I haven't had to in a long time, which I'm really thankful for. And also, this is going to sound, everybody loves good portraits, and I do too. I love getting a great portrait session. But I shot this film that is still on my website. It's probably one of my most popular films. And I had no portraits in it. And it was like one of the best things that ever happened to me, because it pushed me in so many other creative ways in that film. So after that, I kind of cared less. Yeah. I try to look for story, other areas of the day that will, but I always try to get portraits, because the only visual way to symbolize their connectivity and their togetherness and their oneness is shots, by portraits. So So I have like some weddings that are like nighttime, and if they don't want to do a first look, then I'll definitely be like, okay, I've got to take you out during a reception just to get a couple night portraits, just to symbolize that, So.
Yeah, cool. And I guess the sort of the last piece of the puzzle is photographers, especially when you're not working with your brother. Are you often working with photographers you don't know? Are you trying to keep a really nice rapport going with them? Is it easy to kind of work with them and
Yeah,
stuff?
absolutely. I think that videographers have a bad rep with
Yep.
photographers, and I don't necessarily blame photographers. Um, and I hate to say that I'm not like on the photographer side, but it's really rare to have like situations where you can't work as a team. But something that's like really important is knowing your value in relation to photographer to the couple. Sounds like a weird question. You have to be delicate when asking the couple that, but I've done that before, or they'll even just tell you, but find out, hey, like how important is your film in relation to the photography as far as it goes for timeline of the wedding day. I want to make sure that whatever is the most important to you, that that we lead. If it's us, and there's no right or wrong answer, whatever, you can word it however you want to, but you just want to know, like, do I need to like push through and get my shots that I need, or can I just like maybe take a little bit more chill approach and shoot around and then get like a couple like lead shots, like when you're in prime position for portraits or other areas of the day. Does that make sense? It's always a little bit of a game, but I've had like last year I only had one photographer that we had issues with, like actual issues. So it's pretty rare.
Because I'm not sure what you're like in terms of referrals, but I get a lot of referrals from photographers. So I guess a lot of my
Yeah.
I guess like my experience on the day, there is part of my brain that is thinking about how the photographers are experiencing us on the day, because whilst I'm also hoping to get great referrals from the couple, I'm also hoping to get great referrals from the photographer. So it's sort of one other element. It's sort of, you are playing a bit of a game with making sure you're pleasing everyone in that regard, and whilst getting everything you need.
Yeah. Do you know 31 Films out of Houston?
Yeah.
I mean, they're awesome. Aaron said it best, just be a good person.
Yeah, totally.
Like, and most of the time, because I sold cars for 3 years of my life, and selling cars is like times 100 of what videographers have to go through with photographers, in the sense that videographers have a little bit of a stigma with most photographers about, oh, these guys are going to ruin my shit, right? But imagine selling cars where they think you're the biggest piece of shit human being on the face of the earth, trying to take their money and sell you a crappy car. So if I could overcoming, to me, it's like a lot easier to overcome like whatever things are going on with photographers. But referrals are a big thing. So just be a good person. And if you actually know what you're doing from the cinema side, and you can see light and stuff, photographers are going to like that. And they'll be like, oh, okay, these guys know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, because I have one photographer that I work with a decent amount, and she was always like, oh, I love your reception lighting. I don't even bring flashes to the reception when I work with you, because it always looks, I'm like, oh, that's so nice. Thank you. Because it works for both of us. So anyway, just be a good person, like Aaron said, and it'll be great. I got a lot more photography referrals before I joined forces with my brother.
Yeah, people are probably scared that your brother's going to pinch their booking.
I always told them, just because I never wanted anything weird to happen, not from Bradford's perspective, but from like the client, maybe just changing their mind. I said, only refer me after they've signed contracts with you. Like for the ones that referred me often, I was like, always wanted to be really clear. But that's something Bradford and I knew going into business together. I was probably going to drop off some of those leads. So trying to pick them up from other areas.
Yeah, totally. Cool. Okay. So,
You guys don't have Topo Chico in New Zealand yet, do you?
No. Is it a beer? Is it what is it?
No. It's a carbonated water. Yeah. It's like really carbonated. Oh. It's so good.
Nice. I'll have to look it up.
I'll have to send you a case. Yeah.
Nice, man. Cool. Okay. So, I guess I didn't really want to go too much into gear itself, but I think it'd be, I'd be remiss if we didn't chat a little bit about gear. So, sure. And especially because you are creating a high-end experience. And I think there's sort of two elements to, I want to talk about your gear. One in terms of the actual outcome of the footage and the quality of it, and the kinds of shots you're getting.
Yeah.
But then also, I'd love to talk a little bit about the experience of the kinds of cameras you're bringing, and what they look like. Because people often talk about this in regards to corporate work. You'll put like a matte box on your camera and rig it all up just to make the corporate client feel more comfortable that you're bringing fancy gear. Do you want to talk a little bit about, I guess, the perception of what you're bringing and then the actual outcome of that in terms of footage?
For sure. I don't know if clients know the difference. I really don't. The only thing that we've done drastically different that in the industry of videographers has backlash, but in reality has been amazing, is we were using easy rigs at weddings for a while. And we still use them every once in a while. And people in our industry thought, "This, you're stupid. This is such a distraction." And we've had nothing but 100% positivity rate from 1 million guests saying, "Oh my God, these are awesome." So as far as it goes for our rigs being bigger, we get compliments on them because they are pretty big, because the cameras we use. But here's the thing: the easy rigs definitely give a perceived value of, "Oh my God, this couple hired somebody super legit. I've never seen this at another wedding," right? Anyway, so with that being said, the cameras we're using are Blackmagic pocket cameras. We have some 4Ks and a 6K. They get a little bit big, but I don't think that that perceived value has really been huge. Every once in a while, because we have our 7-inch small HD monitors on there, which are awesome. It's like Natalie said, how she has the 5-inch on there and she can't go back. I went to a 7-inch and I can't go back to the 5. I love the 5-inch. I loved it. I was like, "Oh, this is great." I went to the 7-inch and I was like, "Oh God, I can never go back to 5-inch."
You're having like a 26-inch monitor like hanging off your camera.
I'm just gonna put my laptop on top of it and just plug in the HDMI. But anyways, with that being said, we love those cameras, and I just don't think that it's brought any perceived value. I think the easy rigs have brought more perceived value, which is funny. But as far as it goes for it, like maybe like the stereotype of like high-end weddings, and you deliver like the highest end image quality, maybe. We shot on Sony A7 IIIs for a long time, A7Ss and A7S IIs and A7 IIIs for a long time, and I still think to this day that those cameras, you could be charging $30,000 a wedding and you could deliver 1080 files on those cameras if you know what you're doing, and it will be totally fine. The only reason that I switched is just I was getting really, like, I feel like it's 8-bit. I feel like it really maxed out the most I could do, like color wise and just dynamic range and scenics and stuff. So the only reason we switched is my personal enjoyment during editing. I was getting a little discouraged, a little kind of meh. So to give myself a kick in the pants and really enjoy the editing process a little bit more, I switched over to the bigger cameras, and and it's really for the destination work. The local work, I actually hate shooting on them because it's overkill. But for the destination work, I really love being able to show scenics and show locations and such, immense detail. Yeah.
Yeah, nice, man. And besides the cameras itself, are you guys using things like, because from seeing your films, it seems like most of it's handheld, but you're using things like gimbals and obviously drones. I've seen drones and stuff work and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely some drones. Huge fan of the Mavic 2 Pro.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the freaking drone to be portable and best image quality out of their whole lineup. So as far as it goes for other stuff, we use gimbals. It's so situational. Like if a couple wants like a Brittany and Daryl fun video, I usually bust out the gimbal for like one shot. But if it's going to be more of a romantic, dramatic kind of cinematic love story, I'll bust out the gimbal a little bit more. Last summer, I spent like a couple $100 on like rigging it out, the Ronin S for the Blackmagic 6K. Not a good gimbal for it because it's all top heavy and you have to have manual focus and stuff. But I did it and I regret it because I spent so much money. Now it's all sitting in my garage. It's so funny because going forward, I'm switching. I'm going to buy the Lettuce Helix or Helix Junior or Helix Pro, not sure yet, because it's like for cinema cameras, it's all linear and it seems like the best gimbal out there. I'm really excited about it because I have some jobs, like some elopements where I'm solo shooting, and I want versatility, and I want very smooth transitions and stuff. So the gear stuff is completely dependent on what style of film we're trying to put together. So drones, gimbals, easy rigs, follow focuses. We don't use matte boxes, but I really want to use those new ones that came out from who's the YouTuber who has a partnership with that company? Not Polar Pro.
Peter McKinnon?
Is it Polar Pro?
I think, yeah.
There's this new matte box out that's
the one
amazing.
That just clips
it's
on
called
the front.
Basecamp.
Yeah.
And it's variable ND square.
Yeah.
And I'm like really excited. Yeah. I'm so excited, but it's like $700. So I have to buy 2 of everything. So it's very expensive. Anyways, but the gear stuff is cool. I am a big gearhead, but I just don't think that buying new gear is going to make your films better until you know what you're trying to do.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I guess one other section of the gear I'd love to talk about before we move on from this entirely is audio, because sound design and audio quality is a huge part of your films. So do you want to just give us a little bit of outline on what sort of audio gear you're bringing? Because I think that's an area that people, everyone's obsessed on the cameras and the image, and it's something that like videographers have a phobia of microphones and learning about audio equipment.
I think because we know it's such a bitch to learn a new thing. Like we all remember when we were learning cinematography. I still am, and so learning like another part of it, but it's 50% of it, right? And so I'd love to talk about that. For the longest time, we were using DR10, Sennheiser Tascam DR10 packs, but we replaced the lavaliers with the Sanken COS11D lavalier microphones. We just kind of like the sound straight out a little bit better. It's not worth it. The other ones are great too. Just you have to know why you're buying a $400 microphone. And so for the longest time we used those, but recently with the release of the and that was it. So we used like lavaliers on everybody that we could, and then of course if there's like speeches or somebody has a handheld microphone, the big thing to do is to take a backup out of like the DJ board of the speaker, right? That's a backup. The actual feed you want is out of the receiver for the microphone. A receiver has 2 outputs. One goes to the DJ, and then you take the other one so that nothing he's doing affects you, and you're getting a clean feed. And so in all of our films, that's it. And as far as it goes for sound design, maybe some of the films we had like those Rode Micro shotgun microphones on there. A lot of the times it was just, if it's natural sound that's really low in the mix, it's just internal. But going forward, a couple years ago, it's funny that people mention this whole sound aspect of our wedding films, because a couple years ago, maybe 2017 or 18, I made a conscious effort. I am going to put more like sound in our films. And so it's cool because I still carry that like mantle today about getting better. So with that being said, with the release of the new MixPre 6 Mark II, or MixPre 3 Mark II, or the Zoom F6, it's all 32-bit float audio. So I've left the Tascam packs and I've gone back to wireless packs, so that I can have them recorded into the MixPre and get virtually impossible audio to mess up. So it's cool. So now we're using a MixPre 6, and we're also using in the Rode Link Pro system, I think it's called. We have a couple of those, and I also have a Rode Go as well. And they're both fantastic. And we just plug those in there and record straight to there. And that's like our new thing. And then I'm also a big fan of the Sanken shotgun microphone, the CS2, I think it is. Nice microphone. We're going to start using that, incorporating that. And my buddy David has it, and I borrowed it, and we used it for a letter reading. It sounds like so much better than a lavalier. So, we're going to start using that kind of stuff to just improve and get better. But you have to, you have to know, what you're trying to do and like take little steps. You don't have to go out and buy all the most expensive stuff at first, you know, like make work, like make it the shittiest thing the best it can possibly be, or not shit, make the normal thing the best it can possibly be. And then when you learn how to process that audio and mix it in, and then you can actually hear the differences in maybe the higher quality stuff. So
nice. Fantastic. But yeah, I guess
my answers are way too long. All my answers are so long.
Dude, I'm loving it. This is great. Like the worst is when people give like one sentence answers and it's like, okay, how can I stretch this out? No, this is perfect. This is fantastic. So I guess I want to leave gear behind, but I guess to kind of wrap us up on the gear side, it doesn't really matter. Like you said, there's a tiny bit of client perception around like, whoa, these guys hired, you know, amazing high-end videographers, but beyond that sort of initial sort of snap impression, it's sort of, you know, little minute.
I would say this: a client that sees you at a wedding with a red camera, when they inquire, like they're getting married, they're not going to pay more because you have a red. They're going to say, it's all about how they feel when they see your work and your brand. So with that being said, I always think gear should be for you. Like, I think if you invest in gear and you use a specific thing, it should be because that's what you enjoy most. Because when you enjoy it the most, it's going to show in your work. So, yeah.
We're good.
Even though it's cool to get compliments on your gear. You know, if you're not doing it for yourself, then no one's going to pay more for it.
Yeah, totally.
Because the commercial work you itemize, like you charge them for a red package or an RE package or whatever the case is, you know? Wedding clients. Shoot, as long as it looks good as your other videos.
Yeah, you haven't thought about adding a red package as an add-on to your wedding films? That'd be a nightmare.
Oh, man. I shot on a red and an A7S II, and no one can tell the difference. Filmmakers or clients. I've played this game. It's in there. Literally, the whole Iceland film is shot on a red Epic W, like with the helium sensor, like $40,000 and a little $2,500 camera, and they matched up perfectly.
That's the lesson right there. Cool. Okay, leaving gear behind. We're now in.
Get out of here. Gear.
Get out of here. So we're now sort of. Wedding day's done. We're now in sort of post-production land. I want to talk about teaser edits and how they are perceived by clients, because I've started doing them more heavily. I don't even actually offer it as a add-on yet. I've just started doing it for every single wedding, just basically for free as an extra. But I try and get it out real soon after the wedding, and I've seen a huge response from that. So let's chat about teasers.
Isn't that wild? So yes, just yes to all this. So I think the entire reason to offer teasers, it's marketing material for yourself, right? I mean, essentially, I like getting people to pay for it because it does take work, right? And they're benefiting it. But I have done some teasers for free. For instance, the teaser I just posted on my Instagram from Colombia, they did not pay for that. I was on vacation right after their wedding, and I was so excited about their wedding because it was awesome. And I put together this teaser, and I like that teaser. I mean, it's my favorite teaser I've ever made. And like, business is just, come here. We love this teaser. So it's great. So that's the thing, like with teasers, I spoke for I had like an hour presentation at Vision Quest all about like teasers and like how important they are. I talked about how they're important for marketing, right? But the cool thing is they serve a lot of purposes. They serve showcasing the other vendors' work, florist, planner, design furniture rental. So they get to see all the stuff really, really soon. Obviously, the couples love seeing any snippets from their wedding day. Gives them all the feels. But even so, like it's a great client experience. And also, like any of their guests get so like. It's cool whenever they see you at the wedding, they see what you're doing, maybe see your cool cameras, and then they see this product, right? Like really soon after, there's a lot of hype around it. So, I mean, that's invaluable just having that. So teasers have played a big role. And then at Vision Quest, I talked about there's two kinds of teasers. There's like a recap teaser, which is pretty straightforward. It's like, this is what happened in the day. Everything's pretty and whatever. And then there's like what I like to call a hype teaser. And hype teaser is like, it's just like something really bizarre that maybe is like not even like how the day really was, right? Your job is just to hype up this event as much as possible. And maybe that's by choosing, a really unique a song selection for that, like rap or like rock or blues or whatever. You take it more stylized. Like you go like full Quentin Tarantino on it and just like do whatever you want. Music irony, I think they call it, right? And so, so with that being said, those are the kind of teasers, and both teasers are just as useful. Recap teaser is just as useful, but I think it's more useful for people that were directly related to that event. And a hype teaser is a little more useful for both categories, potential clients and clients that were at the event, or potential clients, everybody that was at the event. So I love that you have been doing them. There's a guy in Dallas that it's included in his package. He does it for every single wedding the same night. So he's like at the reception editing it, and he saw this huge change in his business when he started doing that. And so I offer them as an add-on because with the Black Magics, I have to transcode footage, and it's a little bit of a process. But I love doing them because you can just really pick the best of the best parts, and even try. And the cool thing is, you can even try something so different, and you can tell the couple, "Hey, I hope you love this, but like your wedding film will be what you expect, but like this is just a cool idea I had," People like, I've never had somebody not like their teaser, even when it's like way out there, so.
Yeah. Because there's less pressure around it, This is an extra
especially
thing.
if they're not paying for it. If they're not paying for it, then it's like really less pressure. I mean, when they pay for it, there's a little bit more pressure, but still, it's not like the main product, It's like the side thing. So
extra thing,
we've added a lot of teasers. I'd say there's probably an extra 15,000 a year from teasers. So it's awesome, and it's pretty. Even like the cool ones don't really take that long, because you're just picking the best of the best stuff, and
and I think the difference between how hyped the couples are 1 to 3 weeks after the wedding versus 8 to 10 weeks, it's a completely different the way they respond to that product and how they share it and how they talk about it is completely different.
The experience,
that difference in time, the experience,
it's crazy. Everything can tie back into your experience. And Bradford and I talked about it. Like, imagine if you had like a client where you had just a perfect experience from beginning to end. Like, that client's a client for life. They're going to refer all their friends, right? So imagine if you did that for every single client. Like, imagine how like much you could just dominate like the industry. You have amazing work, and you have this amazing experience that people are talking about, and your name is out there, right? It's awesome. So this is the goal, right? It's the goal.
Yeah. And it's kind of like you, like the way you take couples out for dinner is kind of the same like reasons I'm doing these teaser edits. It's like they've already like paid for the film. This is an extra thing, but it's kind of just like setting up great not expectations, but like it's setting up a great experience from the get-go, so that when their full wedding film finally does land in their inbox, they're already kind of primed and prepped and ready for how they are going to respond to that.
Oh yeah, that's a great way of looking at it too. Because I mean, it's so true. Because like one of the things that's important is to send like a follow-up email after the wedding, like right after the wedding. If you're not going to do a teaser or whatever, to say, hey, I had a great time, whatever the case may be. Write your little spiel, and then just give them an update, like remind them, because most people don't remember like what you guys talked about before the thing, So like, hey, like your film's going to be like this long, and this is when you'll get it, and whatever the case may be. So stuff like that goes a long way. And dude, the teaser is like. Awesome. That's so cool. Because like then they're like, I bet when they get it, they're just like, what? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
He said, yeah.
Cool. All right. Now to talk a little bit about the film.
I have to plug in my laptop, which I thought was plugged in. My battery's almost dead. Hold on a second.
Yeah, fair enough. All good.
Weird. Sorry, I got like all the interruptions. Oh, shoot.
No. It's all good.
And I'm back.
Cool. Okay. Fantastic. All right. So to talk a little bit about the films themselves now, I kind of want to talk quickly about your kind of, because your style is kind of known for a lot of your like editing techniques, your quick cuts, your sound design, your overlays, your transitions, and it's all these kind of things. You say them separately, and it's the kind of thing that's like there are people doing these kind of like quote unquote gimmicky things, but I feel like the way you use them isn't gimmicky, and that it comes off as quite a premium high end experience. So what are you doing differently with transitions, speed ramping, trendy music that's different to other people who are doing that?
Yeah,
because there are people. It's not like you're the only person in the world doing it, but the way you do it comes off premium and not gimmicky. So,
thanks. I don't even have a good. I wish I. That's the thing is like
it's probably a lot down to gut and taste, but
like so let me like I was gonna say like a real like snarky comment and just say like well like I like premium things and I think it's authentic to me how I do it, so it feels premium, right? But that's really dumb. I just don't think like I will say this, the edit is all about the feeling to me, right? And so remember earlier when I talked about taking risk, like the more you know your couple, the more risk you might take, or the less risk you might take because you know them and you realize they probably want something a little bit more vanilla. The edit is so much about the feeling, and my wife knows this because I'll just sit there and when I edit, I don't apply an effect, go back like 20 frames and play it through. I go back like 20 seconds and play it through to see if it feels right in that spot, in comparison to how you feel when watching the film, depending on what's happening, like audio or visual. So it's hard to like define like, cause I'm not doing anything different, right? I'm actually doing probably a less technical good job of it than some people. But I feel this exact same way you're talking about. I feel this exact same way about Alex Douglas and Whitney Douglas from Sculpting with Time. They do those zoom transitions, and I think I've tried it. It's always cheesy when I do it. It never feels right. And did you see their Palm Springs film? Not Palm Springs. I'm sorry. The Breakers film with all like it was like a big party.
I think so.
They had a trailer, but they had like a full film as well. And the full film is probably my favorite film from them because it speaks to me. It's like partying, like cool. But they did 2 zoom transitions, and I was just blown away at how it felt right? Like when watching it, I wasn't sucked out. I wasn't even thinking, oh, it's a cool transition. It just felt like that was the natural thing to do. And I've tried to channel my inner Sculpting with Time and apply like even editing techniques, and it never feels like me, right? And so I always scratch it. And so the editing stuff, I only do stuff that I think is cool, right? Like, so if it makes it in the film, it's because I thought it would work, or I thought maybe the couple would like it or whatever. But there's like, because even like I use Cinegrain for a lot of the overlay stuff. There's a company called Cinegrain, and I got that from White and Reverie. They use the same packs, and they use them in a totally different way. And so I want to like, I wish I could like explain, like in a much more like, this is what you do and this is how you do it. But I think the biggest thing is like, they meant it as an insult, but I took it as a compliment. Somebody watched one of my films and left this review and was like, oh, this is like, so whatever. It's some YouTuber guy who does like a lot of cool videos. And I was like, I've literally never watched one of his videos. Thanks so much. Like, I just like did something cool that I didn't even know was like a thing. I just did it because I thought it was cool. And so Peter McKinnon, he's like, oh, this is like so Peter McKinnon style. And so then I started watching Peter McKinnon stuff. I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome. But before, when I edited that film, I had literally never even seen one of their films. So I think the thing is, I don't take a lot of influence from outside of like the world. I just think that you just try to do things and try to think outside the box. And honestly, the best part about wedding films, and this should be a soundbite, the best part about wedding films is the box is like really tiny. So when you kind of start experimenting, you don't really have to go that far to like find original ideas that other people aren't using. So I think that's kind of a really cool aspect on a way that you can be unique and stand out. But the thing is, just be a really big critic of your work, and when you try something, really judge it and say, is this right? Does this feel right? Does this feel wrong? You know, and yeah. So, but I think everyone, yeah. So that's my thing on that. Just
I mean,
be true to yourself, but try stuff.
Yeah, because I kind of have an answer for why your films, why it doesn't feel gimmicky and why it feels premium, is because it has that strong. Your films have a strong structure of story to start with, you know, and I think that comes all the way back to how you are treating your clients and thinking about your clients and wanting to make unique films for them. You know, I was like, to pull one out in particular, your like French Riviera elopement one. There's this strong, solid structure, especially in the start of the film, of like the story of them like taking their friends from New York to, you know, to France and stuff. And whilst there's all these cool, you know, transitions and fun little scenes throughout, it's like you're telling a definite story, and there's clear audio and stuff throughout the whole thing. I think that's the difference. It's not just transitions and hype for the sake of it. It's like there's a reason we're getting excited for this couple to take their friends to France.
I so that reminds me, and that's can I use that? Can that be my answer from now on? People ask me this.
Please do.
I'll always give you credit. I couldn't define this, but I will say one of the big things in the edit is like I'm always thinking like because that film, it's so funny you pulled that film out of there. That film, I honestly will never edit another film. I don't want to say never. I probably will never edit another film like that, because when editing, I'm always thinking like, does this feel like the couple, right? Yeah. Like, and for them, she's like an Instagram girl, and like, you know, and so like it felt right to kind of edit some of that middle section really playful and like whatever, and like even the song choice, I was like, but this feels like them, you know. And that was like one of the things they said that, oh my God, we love this music selection and like this section. And so just keeping it authentic to your couple. But that's why it's so important to know your couple. I can't stress that enough, you know, like important to like, to get to know, like, what are they into, you know, like, what do they hate too? Like, what do they not like? I ask couples all the time, like, what do you not like about my work? Is there anything that stands out from our films that you absolutely don't want? Because I want to make sure that I, you know, don't step into that and put too much of my own opinion in it. So, so that's a really cool thing. And it just reminded me, like, like when editing, I want to make sure that like it feels authentic, or even just feels in the realm of like, oh yeah, this girl's bright and bubbly. Let me choose this little brighter song for this, or like whatever.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, cool.
Man, so
good times.
Sweet. So you've created the film, you know, to the best of your abilities in terms of what you hope the couple will like. You know, you're stoked on it. You're pumped. You think it's the best thing in the world. How do you then show it to the couple?
Man, so you know, this is a great question.
You just cut and paste a Vimeo link and flick it in an email?
Sometimes. You're gonna laugh because it's like it's the weakest point of the process, right? Of the experience. Which really sucks. But there is not a delivery platform that meets my standards. And I hate to say that. So you got Mediazilla, don't know what's going on with those guys anymore. No offense if you use them. I hate their design, their branding, everything. You have this new one called Wedflow. It's very like hopeful, right? I feel like they might have rolled out a little bit too early, but you know it's really cheesy branding, and you can't do a lot of customization there. And so I have a friend though who told me, and I'm really excited. I'm not going to say anything because it may not happen, but he told me about what they were working on, and hopefully it's how he described it, because it's tasteful. It's the kind of stuff that I like, right? And just because I don't like branding doesn't mean it's bad, right? Because there's all sorts of brides that like, you know, pretty films and like bright and airy, and so that other branding works really well for them. But I'm looking for something much more minimalistic, much more modern, you know. And so right now the weakest point is like I have sent some Vimeo links like last week in an email, and you know I make it a hyperlink, so I don't. It's not just it says their names.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
But honestly, I think going forward, and it's just one of those things that's like one more, like there's so many things on the checklist, is just creating a custom page for each client or website. And putting the Vimeo link in there and or the player in there, and maybe even some like grabbing some frame grabs and like putting them as there as kind of like a thing. I think that's going to be probably the best bet until my buddy's platform launches and it works out. But yeah, so I think that for now that will like kind of have to. I bet you could even put like a Dropbox link in there for them to download it and stuff. So custom web pages is probably what we'll be doing for 2020 couples.
Yeah. I mean that's something I've been looking into as well, because there is the actual hosting platforms themselves. There isn't a huge
even EasyFlix. Even EasyFlix was kind of hopeful, but the upload, I'm having issues. I tried it and I was having issues with getting my films uploaded. I kept having errors and stuff, and they don't accept MOV right now. They're really early in their launch phase, but it was kind of modern and I liked the design. I liked how easy it was. But then once but the cool thing about, do you know John Bird from the UK? He's the one who like is behind EasyFlix, and I really appreciate he's putting a lot of like effort and taking input and stuff. So that might be the soonest one, but for now there's nothing that meets my standards.
All good. Okay. Well, so I guess besides the streaming platform itself, what do you how are you prepping couples just like verbally in terms of the email? Like, what are you saying in the email? Is it just hey, here's a film?
Happy. No, it's just like super positive, hyping them up a little bit, like saying how like I'm so excited that your film's ready, and that I'm so excited to get this to you guys. There's a lot of hard work that went into this, and I hope that it's everything you guys ever wanted and more. Whatever you're saying, just make sure it sounds like you. Don't go into wedding mode if like your whole conversation's been pretty casual with them, and you're like, it was such a pleasure to film your beautiful love story, whatever the case is. So don't listen to a podcast and then just replicate whatever the other person said. So anyways, but just keeping them hype. And the biggest thing is I don't ever want them to think that I'm asking for like reviews or like sign off on it, right? Like when I present a product, it's like the finished product. I've had a couple instances where people have asked for very minute changes. The biggest change I ever had was somebody wanted a different reception song. And I'm not the type of person that's like, I'm an artist, I'm sticking to it. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, totally. Like let's get on a phone call and talk about, what you're feeling. It all goes back to feeling. Like, what are you feeling? Like, what do you want to feel? And so with that, I want to make sure that I have happy clients. I don't want, somebody out there. I'm not going to charge them if it's small. You know what I'm saying? My whole thing is like, you want them to be happy and you want them to like their film. Nothing's worse than delivering a film and somebody not liking it, which is like the worst. So you just want to make sure they're happy and get them hyped up. And then, so my biggest thing is sending them an email that says like, it meets my standards. I'm so happy to deliver it. Here it is. And then, oh my God, it's the best film we ever saw. So it's great.
Yeah. So how would, I guess, because the fact that you don't really sort of offer changes is something I want to quickly chat about, and how that is like, how sort of, if you think about it from the client's perspective, how that would be potentially perceived from them, because it's like, it's something that, as a customer might be quite nerve-wracking. You paid a lot of money for this thing, and it's kind of just like, here it is. So is there something in the fact that you are putting in all that work at the start and kind of, I guess getting the couples confident that you'll be able to nail it on the first go?
I think it's all about your brand, right? If your brand is a little bit more like order taking, like what music do you guys want? What do you guys like? Is there any speeches or vows that have to be included, right? And all that goes back to like, what is what is your brand? Who is your brand? Remember earlier I talked about people like hiring us to commissioning us to create a piece of art for them. That's just kind of the general feeling that people have. The couple times people have wanted changes, it's never like they just tell you, and then you do it, like, and you apologize and you're happy to do it. It's never like, I never fight it, but I think that our brand is set up in a way that is very, we're going to get to know you. We want to know everything about you. We're going to be there on the wedding day with you. We're going to take all this into the post-production process, and we're going to create a film for you that is custom and that you love. And so it's not like, did we get your order right? So I think that's just a difference in the experience from beginning to end and what people expect. For us, for us. Also, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Have you ever had clients, or like what you're referring to, right? Is that something that's a little bit more common over there, kind of like expecting to sign off on something?
Because I guess I basically always offered like one round of changes as part of my kind of package. Because I guess like as in my head, I was like, if I was the customer, like I'd kind of want that, I guess even just like that safety net of knowing if it didn't quite land, that I'm not up for more of a wallet hit just to, But in saying that, I hardly ever get changes come back. I pretty much always hit it on the mark. So I am starting to think about, because I got the idea basically from, have you watched that like Netflix series Chef's Table?
Oh yeah,
it's
Chef's
like
Table.
yeah.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. So like the idea of like the fine dining restaurant where you don't order off a menu, you go there because you like buy into the restaurant, the chef, everything, and they just give you the food.
Yeah.
And you're not sending it back.
That's
going,
like
I
my
don't like
entire
this.
business model. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not like picking stuff off a menu. You're not rocking up to McDonald's and going, I'll have like a number 2 and whatever.
Or even like a steakhouse that's really good. Yeah.
I'm not to go all the way down the chain. Just even just a nice restaurant where you order off the menu. I'll have this and this and this. Compared to that fine dining restaurant experience where you're buying into the brand of it, and you're getting excited for the mystery of what's to come, and the fact that it's potentially something that you would have never picked for yourself. This is something that it's hard to talk about, kind of, but we're already there. So I'm going to say 2 things. There's no right or wrong way to create art or wedding film, and so that means there's like no good or bad, right? Because there is a client for every style of wedding film that's out there. So some clients, and you know who the clients are because they're the clients that I don't like to shoot. They want to know exactly what they're getting, what they're buying. They want to know, they want to see your other work that all looks the same, and that's just other people's business, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But they want to know exactly what they're getting, right? And then there's people that see our work and see how custom it is for each couple and how they can feel the couple's personalities in each edit, and they want that. And there's always a little bit of mystery in it, but they know based on history that this is going to be unique. So that's kind of our thought process. And like you said earlier, which was interesting, you were like, in case it doesn't hit the mark, I'll make the revisions, right? So you kind of use it in a sales way of I'll be there for you, right? And I use it in the other way, in the sense of like, hey, we don't really have this that often because we're so good at getting to know our couples. Does that make sense? So same thing, just in a different way. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Wicked. Cool, man. Love it. Yeah. Totally. Cool. Cool. Basically, we're getting near the end of the process now and starting to wrap up the episode. But I guess the kind of the last piece in the puzzle in terms of the client experience is the final delivery, the wrap off, whether you send a physical product or not, how you kind of wrapping up the experience for your couples. Dude, same thing. What the heck can you send couples in a physical way that's of any value in today's technology world? Dude,
Honestly, and this is like my end goal. Like I have an end goal, right? Like my goal is to do 10 weddings a year, like 30 grand a wedding, right? But like really unique. So here's the thing: the end goal is to send someone like an iPad with their film on it. I don't know why, because they paid 30 grand for it. You know, I don't know, but like that's like the only thing that I think adds value. Like those little, now they have these little video player booklets, and
I've looked at those. They look terrible.
Yeah, I saw them in person. It's like low contrast. Yeah. It looks like a Kindle.
Yeah.
Like, Anyways, it's so it's like, is this an ink screen of my video? No, they're not that bad. They're not bad. So the thing is, like, that's like I was talking to a previous client of mine. He's awesome. He's a name partner at a law firm here in Dallas, and so he's like really business minded. And we were talking, we were driving and talking, and he was like, "Man, when doing your packages, you need to only add things that somebody would pay for, right? So like perceived value is if somebody would pay extra for something. And I offer USB boxes and stuff for $350. It's like so expensive. I've sold a couple of them. But the thing about it is like I found out when I had it on the thing, people didn't even like, when I delivered their film, they didn't even ask like, hey, is my USB coming? So I just realized I was going through all this hassle of like ordering these custom things and putting them on there, their films on there, and then mailing it. And it's not actually a valuable thing. So, so the first person who can come out with a deliverable, a hard copy deliverable for video is going to be a very rich person. If they can ever figure out like a high quality way of doing it. Freaking photographers, they got prints they can give people. They got albums.
Yeah.
So jealous.
Yeah. I have been quite excited for seeing. So one of the previous guests on the podcast, Mel, her brand is
okay.
Till Death. She's got a really cool like physical product. It's like it's really cool,
for
like
video?
Black bubble bag. Yeah, but it's not so much the it's just like it's like a goodie bag. She's got like custom like branded little like keychains and just like it's just like a little fun little swag bag for the couples to like get excited about. And it's still like a really simple little metal USB with a branding like etched on it. You know, it's not about the box and stuff. It's just about this cool little swag bag, you know, of goodies for the couple to kind of get it, you know, have arrive at their doorstep.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, I think anything like that's really cool. The thing that Bradford and I struggle with is we want to always, because Till Death, by the way, awesome. They're so good. Love their stuff. So the thing that we always kind of struggle with is because there's services out there that offer like, you know, these types of things. And it's kind of just stuff, you know. Hers sounds cooler. Hers sounds like it's like everything's custom branded. But you always try to think like, okay, like convenience, like I wish there was like a service. And so it's always hard to find gifts for people. But one time I had this client, we had a great call, and they were like big, like, whiskey, like old fashioned fans and stuff. And they spent a lot of money. And so I ended up, sending them, I went on to, Neiman Marcus, which is like a luxury department store here in the States. And I found this, this awesome, like, bar set thing. And it's like rose gold with marble and stuff. And I sent that to them. Dude, their reaction was like, worth the $200 for this thing. Like they were so excited. And this is like after they signed contracts, I sent them a little note with that thing, and they were like so excited. So there's a lot of value in sending, like either after they sign contracts, there's a lot of value in that, or like in the final delivery. So much is just like a well-rounded like wrap up, right? The thing that I always want to do is I always want to make it like really custom to the couple. And so it's like so much. You have to like really pay attention and like try to figure out what that thing is throughout the process. And so it's fallen, you know, I always want to do it every time, but it's fallen. But a really easy thing you can do is after the wedding, even if you don't want to, like you can send your email, but you can also send like a little handwritten thank you note. That goes a long way too, which is really cool. So yeah, there's always these little things that people talk about that you want to do. And so I think the biggest thing is just getting a process down that works, that you can do, apply to all your clients, and do it. So yeah.
Cool, man. And sort of as you're sort of saying, like, you know, wrapping up the process with your couples, are you like asking them for reviews or any kind of formal process around that, or are you like adding them on social and keeping them like keeping in touch with them that way? Or
Yeah, we add people on social like Facebook and Instagram usually like before they book or right as they book or whatever. You try to keep pretty open lines like just there. The what was the other you said? Are you adding them on social? What was the other
asking
thing?
for reviews and any kind of process around that.
Oh, reviews. I'm going to start asking for reviews. I'm like the worst
same,
about
man.
that, right? But like I think reviews are super important, but I'm like literally the worst about asking for it. But I'm going to start doing it, right? Because you got to start leveraging all that stuff. You got to start leveraging it, to stand out in what's becoming a more and more crowded field. Photography, that's like the most crowded, and videography, we're still really early in the game. But people are starting to realize, and all these photo video hybrid companies are coming out, so there's going to be more and more competition. So you want to find ways to stand out besides just making a better product. So I'm going to have to start leveraging all that. To like put it out there in the universe.
We have as videographers, we have had it easy for quite a long time, where the market has been relatively small, and we have been able to just lean on our product itself, But we're starting to realize, okay, we happen to like do all the stuff that every other kind of business is doing, where all those stuff outside the actual product itself.
I know a lot of guys that are like not as good, right?
Yeah.
And subjectively good,
Yeah.
that are making a lot of money because
they're good
they
at
just
the
have
hustle.
their business down. Yeah. Exactly. So, dude, this has been awesome, man. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else that we're covering, but like I just love getting to talk with you and getting to chat with you, and love your New Zealand vibes.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Fantastic. Okay, well then, I guess to wrap us up, I got two more questions. One of which is we've kind of talked a bit about it, but what are you kind of still working on in terms of the client experience? We've kind of mentioned it a few times, but what's kind of missing in that for you?
I think having like a defined process, right? So like I think our pre-process is really defined, like inquiry, fast response. We can always get better at fast response, and then all that. But I think the post-process of just like always doing a handwritten thank you card, and always like asking for reviews, and just all these like the last little touches. And I think a big thing is going to be finding some sort of gift to give people as like when they get their film. I know 31 Films, they do something really cool. I don't know what it is, but I know that they don't deliver digitally first. They deliver physically first. So the first time they get there, and I'm sure it comes with like, so I have this idea, and this is really personal to me. And so I always have these ideas that are really expensive. Like every time I think, I'm like, oh, fuck. But I think that if you like justify it in your rates, right? You like take apart marketing, you take apart, all that stuff. It makes sense. So, but my idea that I had, I don't know if I should say it, but I'm going to say it. Deliver physically first, like 31. And I always talk about my UGG sweatpants with clients, because I've never owned a pair of Uggs, but my wife bought me UGG sweatpants, and I like sweatpants, but my UGG sweatpants are like so comfortable. And so I started thinking about like delivering like some popcorn or something and some booze, always booze if they're drinkers, like some booze and some popcorn and UGG sweatpants, and say, hey, put on these sweatpants. We talked about them. I want to give you some. They're so comfortable. Sit on the couch, watch your film. I think that's like the goal, right? But
like
it's going to be like $300 per client. So So in home, instead of getting them to go out of their home, like in home watching it and be really comfortable, and like then they'll always have these awesome freaking sweatpants to remember us by. So that's what I want to get. I want to implement that and figure out cost effectiveness of how to do it.
Cool. So every videographer who's listening to this is now going to send their clients sweatpants and popcorn and booze and stuff to watch their film. Now, I love the idea. Of physical first. I have actually thought of that too. It's just around like building that hype up for the actual product itself, right? So they're not just like watching it on their phone.
Yeah, and who doesn't like receiving something in the mail?
Exactly.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Fantastic, man. All right. Well, last quick question then to finish us off. Why is the client experience important? Give me the best soundbite.
Yeah. So the client experience is so important because in a world and in a market that's becoming more and more competitive, we have to find ways to stand out. Our work can be the best in the business, but if you have an amazing client experience on top of that, you're going to book more expensive jobs, and you're going to book weddings that people have bigger budgets, and that can be really cool. And you can have like just not, I don't want to say a better film, but you have the opportunity to have some really inspiring films. And so that's why client experience is so important, because you want your clients to love you and to refer you to all their friends, and you want people in the industry to talk about how you treat your clients and inspire others to do the same.
Wicked, man. Absolutely. Love it.
That's
it.
Cool.
That's
my soundbite.
That's your soundbite right there.
That works. Yeah.
Cool, man. Fantastic. All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and having a chat with me. I really appreciate it.
Dude, I really appreciate you having me on. Hopefully you don't have too much trouble editing all that together, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. Cool. Seriously, that was very informative and loved it.
Fantastic, man. I did just, your feed did just drop out for a second there, but all good. Thank you so much. If people want to find your work, I obviously they already know all about it, but I'll pop some links below to what we've talked about.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. Can you pop a link to my store where I sell my presets?
Absolutely. Let's do that. Presets.
Cool.
Like LUTs and stuff.
You can do a 20% discount. Yeah, 20% discount too for all you guys. I'll create a code for y'all.
And we'll pop that all below. Fantastic. Love it, man. Cool. All right.
Sweet.
That's going to do us. And we will see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace out.
Done, man.